That was Black Monday. So you guys are playing again when?
This Thursday at Spikes and Rosemead and December 14th at Mr. T's in Highland Park.
Hey, we were talking about back in the day, because we got a question that came in about, did you ever play with Celtic Frost? And we were talking, I always, this is really interesting, like, when I run into people that are somewhat our age, that are still, you know, into this music, which is kind of rare, you know?
Yeah.
But I always tell them, like, hey, you know, 1986, did you go to Metallica and Ozzy Master of Puppets, dude? Were you there? They're like, they get all excited. Yeah, they're fucking poser. Because down the street, Fender's Ballroom, Celtic Frost, Voivod, Running Wild, FCD and Tormentor, and St. Vitus.
Yep.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I was there.
Does it blow your mind how St. Vitus is so huge now? And like bands of that era that were not credited or respected, how now they're like, dude, they have this second wind.
Yeah, I think it's awesome because not only were they a great band, they still are. They're good dudes, and it's like, it's good to hear that kind of music get its recognition that it deserves because we knew how good it was back then.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw St. Vitus at the Viper Room, and I was talking to Wino, the singer, and I said, dude, I saw you guys at Fender's Ballroom. He goes, wow, Fender's Ballroom. It's like, and you had to be there to understand like how awesome Fender's Ballroom was.
Yeah, it is. Are you aware that there's a trivia band called Fender's Ballroom?
Yes, I am aware.
Are you aware that they are planning on doing Cryptic Slaughter songs?
Yes, I've talked to.
And they want you to play with them.
Yeah, you know, which I'm down to try and do. I haven't played Low Life on drums since '88, but you know, as with Napalm Death, you can see I can still jump around and scream and look like a fool. But you know, I'm always down to do any of that. Anything to do with Cryptic Slaughter, as long as it's positive and good, and it's nothing that's going to harm us in any way, I'm always down to do it.
Yeah, I think that's great that you're real positive about it, and you guys all still collectively keep in contact.
Oh yeah, no, we talk all the time, and I mean, if anything happens with Cryptic Slaughter on anything, whether it's merch or whatever, it's us four that have to agree on it.
Is there a second revival of the finance aspect of it? Because I see a lot of Cryptic Slaughter like merchandise everywhere, man.
Yeah, I mean, we have a Warlord clothing that does all our new shirt designs, and we're actually going to have a new shirt design coming out, I believe this year, if not the beginning of next year, which is, it's done really fucking killer by an artist by the name of Mike Fisher, and he's
great guy.
Yeah,
we love
great
Mike.
Guy.
Love him.
And I mean, he did a fucking really cool design, and so it's like, I can't wait for that shirt to come out. But you know, we get our royalty checks. You know, we make, you know, I still have to work a regular job, so do the rest of the guys. I mean, obviously Rob has the most coolest job, but you know, we all, you know, it's extra cash when you need it, and it's awesome, and it's, you know, it's rad to go to shows and see kids wearing our shirts.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's rad to be associated with such good companies such as Relapse Records, FOAD Records, you know, Warlord Clothing, and the people who run those companies and be, you know, still put out that stuff. It's fucking killer. It's
got to be rewarding and also at the same time somewhat flattering.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Oh, it's definitely flattering. I mean, it's definitely an ego boost.
I find myself regressing to being 14 when I see a kid walk by with a vest like, hey, where'd you get that Cryptic Slaughter patch?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Locket truck.
Headline Records.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where I got my Cryptic Slaughter pack patch. I went to Headline Records and I asked if he had one. He goes, yeah. And I go, hey, well, if I was the drummer of the band, do I get it for free? He goes, let me see your ID. And I showed it to him. He's all, you know, your scalp, here's some Cryptic Slaughter. It's very cool, dude. Here you go.
That's cool.
Is that Jean-Luc?
Getting back to Cryptic Slaughter real quick. We talked about, obviously, the reissues that are going to be coming out.
Yeah.
We addressed the fact that you are not getting back together, and that's not going to happen ever.
No.
It's not because there's hostilities amongst you guys. It's just that you guys recognize that the legacy is intact, and you guys don't want to go back and jeopardize or ruin that.
Yeah, I mean, as much fun as it probably would be, there is a part of all of us that we're happy where we left it. You know, and we can't go back in time and relive that moment. But, you know, never say never. Maybe there'll be an in-store where all four of us are together, which would be fucking really cool.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just all of us we're older now. We all have jobs and lives and kids, you know, and it's just, you know, certain things are more important than just getting the band back together. And, you know, like I said earlier, maybe it wouldn't be the best thing. It's some things are better left in the past and remembered for a good reason.
Yeah, I admire that. I respect that. Now, this is interesting. Back at that time, I don't want to say that you guys were like a rivalry, but there was a friendly I guess a rivalry with Excel. Would you agree with that? You guys got along great, but
yeah.
but it always kind of seemed like there was like a rivalry. Now this question is being asked to like the generation, my generation, that remembers that.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to ask you this: was there a rivalry?
If there was one, we didn't know about it. I mean, you know Dan, and we were always he's a jokester. We're saying, wait, we just had fun going back and forth. I mean, if there was some friendly competition in there to see who got the better show or who did better show, well, that's normal and that's good because we, you know, both bands believed in each other, but also supported each other. But at the same time, you know, Excel were awesome at what they did.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Till this day, that's another band that from that era. That's another band, Timeless.
Yeah.
Back at that time, you guys were affiliated with the Suicidals.
Unfortunately,
that was.
sadly,
Would
yes.
it be safe to say? Because I believe they're still around, or there's a resurgence. So I don't want to put myself on the fucking radar.
They're still active.
But would it be safe to say that back at that era, they were affiliated with suicidal tendencies, and it was kind of like a club or / a gang?
Well, I mean, Excel.
Venice.
Excel was more associated with them because, you know, Dan's from Venice, and you know he grew up with Mike Beer and knows them and worked at Streets of Venice, a skate shop. We had
you guys at that time were also associated.
We had an association because Bill was good friends with a lot of the guys who were in suicidal, the club or gang, whatever you want to call it.
Would you say it was a gang back then?
To me, it's a gang. To me,
Right?
it's still a gang. I mean, everyone who knows me knows my opinion on it all. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of anything that it's violent and knucklehead and, you know, not bro, but like just claiming shit it's stupid to claim. You know, I'm sure Mike Muir doesn't care about the gangs.
Of course not.
You know, he's happy living his life and making his money. You know, and you know, the friends that we had that were in it, they were good guys, but yeah, it did trickle down to us at times, and you know, we weren't a suicidal band. We never were part of that. Bill, we had, you know, friends that were in it. It doesn't make us. We're guilty by association.
The reason why I asked that question, number one, because I've always wondered, but number two is because now here, 2012, could you imagine? I mean, you mentioned Hoover Park earlier. I had Oscar Garcia from Nazi here a while back, and we were talking about those legendary Hoover Park shows and how violent they were.
Oh, dude, remember the Balboa shows were terrible. Even all the shows were. Fenders, dude, I've seen people get their knocked out and stomped on, like, for just no reason.
You know, you mentioned the Balboa. This is really interesting. I'm trying to I don't know about you, but my memory is kind of going too, which is not cool. But
I have my moments.
I remember vividly. This is something that has never left my brain fucking file. We would take the bus. We were kids from East LA, you know, denim and leathered out. And back then, you couldn't go to Lock and Shock or Hot Topic or Dark Brown. You know, you made your patches. You know. And of course, they were not cool, you know. To a person in 1984, 85, you see a kid wearing fucking Sodom or Destruction, Antichrist, and then a big pentagram. You're like, it's insane. Yeah, this kid's fucking dangerous. But we got off the bus, man, and we're crossing the street to go to the Balboa at, I believe it was on Vermont, in South Central. Yeah. At the height of the Blood and Crip War, and there was an Impala full of Bloods with the bandanas. And we're crossing the street thinking we're all cool, you know, with Venom and fucking Saxon or what have you. They whip out a shotgun. They're like, hey, where you going? Yeah. Oh, we're going to go see Excel or something.
We're going to the Balboa for DRI.
Don't you see your patches, dude?
Now, I don't know about you. You mentioned you're not a parent yet?
No.
If you were, wouldn't you go back in time and kick your kid's ass for fucking going to the Balboa?
You know what
I yell at my parents all the time now. What were you thinking?
It blows my mind that my parents let me do half the shit that I did, like the shows I went. But you gotta remember, you know, Les was older, so they kind of figured, okay, well, Les is a good kid. We know his parents, so, you know, they maybe just trustworthy parents. Like, they know, like, okay, Scotty's a good kid. He's not gonna fuck it up too much.
All your parents are very supportive.
Oh yeah, all of them were. All our parents got along great. All of them were they communicated with each other. They always were very proud of us, all of our parents, and they still are. You know, and it's just funny that my parents when we signed our contract, we had to have our parents co-sign because we were too young. So I could just imagine, you know. And we practiced in my parents' garage, and the shit they put up with the Santa Monica Police Department and the neighbors.
Oh my God!
I mean, they win the Parent of the Year award pretty much every year because they're, you know, it was a lot to put up with it. Like they didn't have to do it, but they did it.
Yeah.
So, and they're still proud. My dad still sends his cousin, like, oh, look at Scotty's band got, voted number 16 or whatever it was in LA Weekly's top 20
yeah,
metal
I was going to
bands.
bring that up. How did that make you feel? Here in Los Angeles, for those of you that are not natives, the LA Weekly listed Cryptic Slaughter
I think it was number 14.
as what, like the top 10 LA, the top 20 Los Angeles influential bands?
Yeah.
Cryptic Slaughter.
Yeah. I didn't even know about it. I had a Cryptic Slaughter fan on Facebook go, dude, congratulations on my,
Huh?
oh, what? Then I put on my glasses, get on the iPhone, look at it, and it's like, holy shit, man, this is fucking, and it was just some writer who, we were the band he picked.
Yeah.
And we beat out South by Heaven, so I was pretty stoked on that. It's just like, if you can beat out Slayer at anything, that's pretty fucking, you can go, oh, let me pat myself on the back for that one.
Yeah, they're in some serious company there. Slayer, fucking all kinds of stuff, dude. I mean, that's got to say something.
Yeah, that's you know what I like when I see the bands that deserve to get the credit being recognized. Now I do, and it infuriates me when I see bands that don't get the credit. That's why I invite them on here as well to give them exposure. I thought that was great that you guys were listed.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool
because
too.
you guys have been very instrumental, very, very, very instrumental in the generations that followed us, influentially.
Well, it's funny because like I've talked to guys in other bands that there's a ska band called the Ageless, and the guitar player Brian Dixon. I met him through MySpace at the time because he saw that I was a Cryptic Slaughter, and that blew his mind. But yet here he is playing in a great fucking ska reggae band, but he's still a thrash kid at heart, even though he works with that kind of music. It just goes to show you, it doesn't matter what music you're into. If you were there when it happened, there's a bond that's never memory that's never gonna be broken.
It was a pivotal time in history that will never be replaced.
Yeah, it's like the 60s.
Yeah, exactly. No, really. Even though kids are trying to replicate that, it'll never happen. Yeah. I think it's great that they're doing their own thing, but that energy and the angst, especially the independence and the rebellion, that'll never.
Yeah, well, because like I said earlier, we were there when the scene started.
Yeah.
It wasn't a scene, we didn't go into the scene. We started the scene because finding places to play like the Hoover Hall and driving to buttfuck Egypt to play shows because there was no scene. And then year after year after year, like when you're going to Santa Monica Civic to see Slayer, Venom, and Hyrax, you're like, this is awesome.
Yeah, this is us.
Yeah, and and
we're moving on up until you realize you're not getting any of the dough.
Yeah.
Quickly, counselor, I just I looked at the LA Weekly list, and Cryptic Slaughter is bookended by Beowulf before them and Terrorizer after them. So
nice.
Again, very, very awesome company there.
All right, we mentioned earlier that Napalm Death was in town, and they asked you to come up and do Low Life. So let's take a listen to that. Let's listen to this nice little segment of music here. I'm glad you're here. I've had a great time talking to you.
Oh, dude, I'm always happy to be here.
Let's listen to this block here, and maybe some of these bands you'll reminisce, man. Maybe you
can hold each other.
Maybe. That's funny. All right, you listening to Manic Metal. I have the crossover veterano, Scott Peterson here of Cryptic Slaughter and Black Monday. You're playing again when?
This Thursday at Spikes and Rosemead, December 14th at Mr. T's Bowl in Highland Park.
Make sure you get out there. I gave that a super strong seal of approval. Fantastic band. Let's get into it. KDC.com.